in those twin Georgia runoff races, with the candidates returning to the campaign trail. Kelly Loeffler making stops in Macon, Savannah, and Augusta, while Jon Ossoff is stumping in Marietta. The race continues to appear to be neck and neck, with hundreds of millions of dollars already spent in ads. We're being joined by Fox's Robert Sherman. He's live for us in Lawrenceville, Georgia, with the latest on these runoff races. The last race, really, of 2020, right, Robert?
Yes, it most certainly is, and it's a big one. It's going to decide who controls the United States Senate this upcoming session. Right now, as things stand, the Republicans have already locked up 50 seats in the Senate to the Democrats' is 48. So in order for the Republicans to maintain their majority going up into this upcoming session, they need either Senator Kelly Loeffler or Senator David Perdue to win their respective race. The Democrats, they need both Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff to win in order to force a 50-50 tie, which would be broken by the vice president, and that would be assuming Kamala Harris steps into that role later in January. So that's what's on the line right here. And as you mentioned, millions of dollars in ads. This is the number, Andrew. The latest tabulation puts the ads north of $500 million, which is why this is really everything that everybody is talking about over here in Georgia right now. You go anywhere and you flip on the TV, you can't help but be reminded about the upcoming Senate runoff races that are being had here. You talk to people who are here on the ground, who are heading out to the polls, and they said, well, everybody knows what's going on and everybody knows the stakes. Nobody needs to be reminded of that down here in Georgia. Lots of anticipation, and that's why we're seeing all the candidates really hammering the campaign trail. We're looking at a busy day of events tomorrow. We know that Senator Loeffler and Perdue will be meeting up on the campaign trail. We know that Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina will be coming down in order to stump with David Perdue. That's going to be early in the morning up in North Georgia. We know that Jon Ossoff is going to be having a number of events tomorrow. And then, of course, a big one the night before Election Day. President Trump will be here in the Peach State to stump on behalf of the Republican candidates. So we only have about 6 days to go, Andrew, but it's going to be a pretty jam-packed 6 days for sure.
And you know, Robert, I kind of was wondering just about the early voting numbers that we have right now. From what I've been seeing, that these totals could outpace even just 2 months ago, back in 2020, or in the 2020 election for turnout. Are you seeing those numbers as well? That turnout is just so massive this time around already.
Well, we've been to a number of polling locations, Andrew, in several different counties. So we'll start with Cobb County, where we were at the other day at the main office. We saw wait times there at times of over 90 minutes. This location that we have here in Gwinnett, earlier today, we saw times that were getting up towards an hour as well. I mean, this has been pretty consistent. It seems as though that you go to the main polling locations in counties, you're going to see lines that stretch around the corner. One interesting thing that I do want to note, at this Kelly Loeffler event that we were at earlier today down in Macon, one of the Republican organizers, as he was encouraging Republicans to go out, he said, the Democrats are organized. The Democrats are getting out there. They have their get out the vote effort in place. They know what they're doing right now. And remember, you look at the history of runoff elections in this state, it's the Republicans who typically outperform in these runoff races. We have seen instances in the past couple of decades where it looked as though the Republican candidate was not going to do so well in the general election, just barely forced a runoff, and then came back and outperformed in the runoff election. So we know that the Republicans, they recognize that this is the most organized that the Democrats have been here in the state of Georgia, which is why they are trying to leave nothing to chance over the next couple of weeks. So turnout, we're expecting to be pretty big from both sides of the aisle.
That's right, Robert, and obviously Georgia going blue for the first time since the 90s in the past election. I kind of wanted just to talk about briefly as well, you know, this is all happening with the political backdrop of what's happening on Capitol Hill. And you see Senator Perdue, Senator Loeffler really tie their fortunes to President Trump and his request and desire for those $2,000 stimulus direct payments to Americans. That's looking more and more less likely as the week goes on here. Have you talked to voters on, if that's one of the key factors that's driving them out to vote for either, these candidates if that is, playing a key role in when they go into the voting booth?
The pandemic in general is something that we continue to hear as a main point of emphasis from voters as they head out to the polls. That's the thing that they really want. They're looking for candidates that have a plan and they know what they want to execute to try and get the country back on track. And, we hear that from the candidates as well. Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue have both been emphasizing that they want to get the economy back up and running, that now with the vaccine coming out, they want to help Georgians get back to work. David Perdue said earlier this week that he thinks that combining the vaccine with $2,000 stimulus checks would be probably best for Georgians, which is why both he and Kelly Loeffler said that they're breaking away from some of the other Republican colleagues that they have up on Capitol Hill. So that continues to be a pretty big one. You did mention that the Republican candidates are tying much of their faith and a lot of their successes and a lot of their ideologies towards President Trump. We did hear Kelly Loeffler say something earlier today that, she intends to fight for President Trump. David Perdue has said that he intends to fight for President Trump. But Kelly Loeffler also said that electoral college vote that Josh Hawley came out and said that he intended to contest, that's on January 6th. Election day here in Georgia is January 5th. They need to take care of business here first, according to them, and they need to make sure that they're in a position to defend the president. That's what they said earlier today. So they are trying to do both at once, but they do emphasize that they need to win these Senate seats in order to get to helping President Trump from their perspective.
All right, Robert Sherman there live for us in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Yes, that remains to be seen on if any more Republican senators will join Senator Hawley's effort there on January 6th. And you heard it from Governor Kemp himself today, saying that this is the main priority for Republicans in the state and in the Senate. Robert, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'm Andrew Kraft. We want to thank everyone for watching News Now from Fox. It's a little after 5 p.m. here, Mountain Time, Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We have another live report from Phoenix later in the next hour, actually, about holiday travel and if COVID cases are spiking because of it. So we'll bring that